This episode of Badass Agents Podcast is brought to you by Jason Smith team at Nova Home Loans. Jason, a Navy veteran, has been recognized as one of the top 100 loan originators in the country. There is no task too big or too small for the Jason Smith team. Every client counts. For the best rates and great service, contact Jason at 480-227-6231 or visit novahomeloans.com. I personally stand by his service, and so do thousands of satisfied clients. That's Jason Smith at Nova Home Loans, NMLS number 210839. That's the only difference of who I was to who I am now. When a challenge comes before me, I'm like, all right, what do I need to do? I'm going to accomplish this shit. I need to get over this. I'm going to solve it. Before, victim, oh my God, why is this happening to me? I'm such a good person. Welcome to another episode of Mindset Mastery. I'm your host, AZ Araujo, and I still have a little broccoli in my mouth. We're going to go through a little session of ASMR. Here we go. Do you hear that? It's the weirdest thing. I see my daughter going online and listening to these sounds of dogs chewing or kids, chewing on food, and she can listen to that for hours. So I'm sure I'll interest some people here, but why am I having broccoli at 10 o'clock in the morning? Now, that's not typically something that I do. It's not. I haven't done it in years, but it's a little strange for me to get used to, right? Not only to have my morning shakes, but to now add egg whites plus broccoli plus oatmeal, and I feel really full. But the reason I'm doing it is because I enrolled into another challenge. A 30-day challenge. And I know this is going to be a grueling process because I'm going to change everything that has to do with my nutrition. And also my exercises. I've been pretty consistent here for many, many years. In fact, I picked up the challenge-based lifestyle back in 2014, in January 2014. And it's been something that I've stuck to, and it's radically shifted and changed my life. Everything about who I used to be is gone. This new person that is now before you was on the back of many, many years of hard work and putting these challenges in front of myself and then delivering on it, right? And then completing them. Not just setting a target or a goal at the beginning of the year and hoping that it was going to get done. In fact, I got very specific about my actions. I got very specific about when it was going to end and what I want to accomplish. And, today, as I open up my 12-week target book, and this is the last week of this 12-week target book. We're on the last week of March, and it just so happens that I'm on my last week of my 12-week target book. And when I read the 12-week, the entry to the 12-week here, and I'm holding the book for those of you who can't see me, I'm just going to go ahead and read to you what I wrote down, right? Week 12. And it simply says, I have to declare what I am to the universe. I have to pray passionately to God. I have to feel it within my soul and must believe it. I will change lives. I will always find solutions. I am a beacon of light. I am unstoppable. I am a leader. Now, when I read that, it gets me digging a little deeper of what I meant to say here, right? When I say things like, I have to feel it in my soul and must believe it. I have to pray passionately to God. I will change lives. I will find solutions. I am a beacon of light. I am unstoppable. I am a leader. Now, many can say this is just an affirmation, AZ. This is great. This is awesome. But it's who I am today. I am a leader. I do feel unstoppable. I do pray passionately to God. I do change lives. And when we start accumulating all those things that I have proclaimed here, it's on the back of many, many, many years of hard work, intentional work. And it started with this challenge-based lifestyle of just setting short-term targets. Because when you proclaim that I am a leader, that means that you're willing to keep going when most won't. That you're willing to take on more on yourself, to embark on new endeavors when most won't. So when you say these things, it's on the back, right, of the hard work. And here I have it documented, what I've done over the last 12 weeks. And it's been something where I know for a fact I am a greater leader today. I have better perspective today because of these simple steps that I've taken along the way. Now, how do I get to this level, right? Because I've had people saying, hey, how did you grow this non-existent brokerage, right? And we didn't race to the bottom to try to, pick up hundreds and hundreds of different agents to join us. We did it through a process of value, right? My agents know, and the people that I associate myself, our associates here at A's and Associates know that I will always come in with the best. I'm not going to hold back. Because I'm constantly a student. I'm constantly studying the game of business. But more than that, I study the game of life. I live it each and every day, right? Where I start focusing and where the intention is to focus on all aspects of my life. So the people here also see themselves living that same lifestyle. In fact, we just opened up a new challenge. And I'll tell you what, when we first thought about this, Carla and I, we were like, do we really want to go this route? We already have a lot on our plate. We have a lot on our plate. We already have our coaching clients. We have the brokerage. We have our personal, endeavors that we're trying to fulfill. Do we really want to take this on? And when we start thinking about this, right, oftentimes, because we put this out to the entire brokerage, and we had about 35 individuals join. But oftentimes what I'll hear is just it's inconvenient. It's not the right time. And when I start thinking about just simply my life, it's never the right time, right? Whenever you want something more and it's going to require more work, that means that you have to expand as a person. So if you're looking at it from the position where you're at now, of course you're not going to have enough time. Of course, it's not going to be easy. But one of the things that I realized is that after every challenge that I put before myself, I always come out stronger. I always come out wiser, more committed. I always come out with this internal fire that doesn't go out. And we see this with small business owners. We see this with entrepreneurs. They either burn out, right? They either burn out or get bored because they don't continue to push themselves to another level. I don't feel that because I'm constantly pushing the envelope. And I mentioned something last week. I think the greatest pains don't come from pushing the envelope. They come from mediocrity. They come from complacency and temptation. Anytime you succumb to those things, that's where the greatest pains come from. Not from pushing the envelope. Not from challenging yourself. And I'm sorry, I think I got broccoli coming out of my mouth. That's pretty gross. I felt something on my lip here. So if you saw that, I'm sorry. Not sure if I did or not, but broccoli, is it on my chin now? All right. I shouldn't chew broccoli right before I come in and start yelling. So for those that are visually seeing me, you probably see a big piece of broccoli on my beard, but that's okay. Listen to me. Close your eyes. I don't care. If you're grossed out, just close your eyes. But what I'm saying is that the simple process of just setting something that's outside of your comfort zone will get your ass up in the morning. People ask me and tell me, how do you do it? It's so hard in the morning. Well, I have this vision that I'm going after. I'm challenging myself the same way when the economy was shutting down, when everyone was afraid of doing anything. You were asked and you were told to stay in your house. You were asked and you were told to hold back, that everybody else is doing, so you must do the same. I can't do that. If I don't do anything, that's another step towards my own destruction. I have to keep moving forward. If I stay complacent, oh man, I start really unraveling things that I don't want and living the lifestyle that I never wanted. It's when I push the envelope. And because I had a challenge and because I also had accountability partners, I was able to move forward powerfully during that time. It was March of 2020. What I decided to do is hey, I need to put a challenge in front of me, because I can't just sit here and wait for the sky to fall. If it's not happening now, what makes me think that it's going to happen in the future just because somebody else is telling me? I just got to keep doing what I do. But I'm going to make it harder on myself. While everyone else is asleep, I'm going to push hard. When everyone is taking their ease, I give them no rest. General Sun Tzu, right? You remember that. So what did I do? What did we do? We said, okay, let's set up a challenge. 100 miles in 8 weeks. Now, this is coming from a person that I hated running. Like the longest run I've done in my entire life was like 5 miles, 6 miles in one sitting, right? 4 miles was very few and far between. So it wasn't something that I necessarily loved. It's not like I said, hey, I'm just going to listen to music now because the economy is shutting down. No, it had to go way above what I was used to. Because I didn't want to come out of this pandemic weaker than how I went in. I would have burned everything that I worked for. And I wasn't going to let some stranger, a government, tell me, slow down. I had to make my own choices. And I decided to invest in my immunity. I decided to invest in my mindset. I decided to invest in my business. During that time, I made the greatest investments in all facets of my life. Because I conditioned myself to challenge myself. This 12-week target, it's all about a challenge. Can you do what is required to be successful? Can you live up to your commitments? And not only that, while living up to your commitments, can you do something beyond that? And when you do something beyond that, that's where real growth and expansion occurs. Because you're pushing the envelope. You're building the capacity by doing the small things every day, and then you take a leap. Just like I took a leap with that 100 miles, and I completed it. I dominated it. I ran my fastest 4 miles in my life. I averaged like a 6:23 a mile for 4 miles. At 41 years old at the time, I'm 42 now. At 41, I would say that's stellar. There's not many individuals that can do that. I'm in the top percentile. Hell yeah. But I conditioned myself to do that based on everyone else shutting down. But that's what got my ass up in the morning. Why? Because I could have been like many. I could have been too afraid. So I needed something scary in front of me that I personally developed and I personally created to get my ass up in the morning. Because otherwise I would have been like everybody else, sheltering, watching the news, afraid. I got some accountability partners and I said, let's get this done. 100 miles in 8 weeks. And the reason we decided 8 weeks was because I thought it was going to blow over. I really did. We're still living in it now. And I'm still doing my thing. We're still living in it now. So I said, okay, fine. 100 miles is done. And then we're like, okay, let's just continue to go to the gym. Let's continue to run. Let's continue to cycle. But when there is no real goal, there's not as much passion. And I noticed this with my group. The same people that decided to do this, they started showing up every once in a while because there was no real hard challenge, right? There was no clearly defined challenge. And that's what you need when you set up a challenge. It's got to be clearly defined of when is it going to be completed. So that's why, once a year resolutions don't work. Because there's no sense of urgency because it's 12 months down the road. But you put 12 weeks in front of you, you're like, oh shit, I better keep moving. Because I promised myself by 12 weeks I was going to get this done. So I noticed there was an intense focus to get the 100 miles done. And then when we didn't have another clear challenge, we just say, hey, let's just keep working out. Let's keep running. People would come and go. But then things started getting serious around here, right? We're all required to wear masks. We're all required to do what the government's telling us to do. I hate just saying the government. But what others are telling us, lawmakers are telling us to do. So I said, all right, well, I got to make this more difficult. So somebody spoke to me, my ear, said, what about an Ironman? Now, if you would ask me this a year and a half ago, I would have been like, you're crazy. An Ironman? Look at me, man. I have muscle. There's no way. I'm not built like those guys. I hate endurance. My shins hurt. My knees are bad. I never got diagnosed with bad knees. I just assumed because they hurt, they were bad. Well, the reason they hurt is because I didn't build the capacity for them. Of course, when you pound them on the pavement, they're going to hurt. You're going to get splinters, shin splints. I'm hearing a lot of noise in the background, so give me some time here, guys. I got my crew still working here. Richard, please, I'm trying to concentrate here. So of course it's going to hurt, right? But I decided to keep going. And I built like those tender nerves that were all in my shins, they slowly started to disappear. So I decided to do this Ironman. And here I go. Here's this challenge. I got to learn how to swim. I got a proficient at swimming. At that, I had to swim 1.2 miles. Right? I had to cycle. I had to learn how to cycle more efficiently to save my energy so that I can run the 13 miles afterwards. I mean, it was challenging. But I conditioned my body, and I hit a clear, and I set a clear target to get this done. A clear target. And I got some accountability, and we stuck to it. I hired a coach, and now we're doing this again. All right, we're on the back of, I was going for my second Ironman. It got canceled. We ended up doing a duathlon as a, with the guys that I was working out with. But I even saw it then. There was a lot of belief that it was going to cancel out. So I saw a lot of the guys not so focused anymore. They just weren't, right? So it was a little lackluster. I'll be honest with you. It was a little lackluster. But now we have another challenge that we brought upon ourselves, and many of you have joined it. And for those of you that are not within our brokerage, you'll be hearing about it soon because it's going to work, and I'm excited about it, and I'm excited for you. I see the excitement. I see individuals throwing away all the junk in their cupboards, the junk in their refrigerator and freezers. I was one of them as well. I pulled out a bag as I'm clearing my cupboards. Okay, as I'm clearing my cupboards, I pulled out a bag. It weighed at least 35 pounds of just junk, of things that I say I don't really eat, but I catch myself just kind of snacking on. Well, those snacks have accumulated themselves to a point where I'm not necessarily happy with the way I look 100%. Am I more fit than most my age? Absolutely, but I'm not where I need to be. And because I let it slide, I wasn't conscious about it. There was no real challenge. There was no real target of what I wanted to accomplish. And I'll tell you what's really humbling is having to take a picture of yourself, right? And you can't take with this app that we have, the Do the Work app, it's not like you can take a picture under good lighting or whatever it may be and then load it later. No, it tells you, oh, you want to take a picture? You have to, the picture that you're taking right now is going to be immediately uploaded. So it's not like I could have taken another picture, maybe added a filter or two, no, it's right from the app. There is no other way to upload a photo. So there I am. I took a picture forward, I took it on the side, and then I took my back, and I was like, what the hell is that? That's not what I'm seeing in the mirror. I don't know if many of you were disappointed as well. But there was a lot of unconscious decisions because there wasn't a clear challenge of what I wanted to accomplish. So, now I need to be clear. Hey, Brennan, can you do me a favor and just talk to those guys? Now I'm very clear about what I need to accomplish. Okay? Very clear. And that is setting a challenge before me. So Carla and I put something together. It was actually more Carla, okay? Because I brought this up because somebody brought up this 75 Hard. I don't know if you've heard about this, but it's this program that's supposed to be very efficient. And it's the only things I didn't like is you were supposed to pick your own diet, which a lot of people will not stick to something if somebody else is not watching. So we wanted to really simplify this by something that we studied many, many years ago. Carla and I were only like 24, 25 years old, and we read this book called Body for Life. And many of the principles that we're now teaching are based on that foundation of just keeping it simple, right? You got your proteins, you got your fats, you got your carbs, and you got your veggies. So with that simple formula, it's changed our lives throughout the years. Now, we'll get really fit. Like for me, I'm only going to speak for myself. I'll get really fit, and then something, I just forget. I forget the good habits, and all of a sudden, I'm carrying around more weight than I want. So now, we have this 30-day challenge where we simplified it. And I tell you what, like I have broccoli right here, right in front of me, and I'm like, man, I'm already tired of it. It's only day one. I'm tired of this. how am I going to stick to this? But it's something that I had to put the challenge up. Why? Because it got me fired up this morning, knowing that I know I can see the transformation before me, knowing that I wasn't happy with that picture that I took, knowing that I could improve myself, and also knowing that after this challenge, I'm going to become greater at the end of it in all facets. I'm going to be a greater leader, a greater businessman, a greater father, a greater person in general, because I decided to bring these on upon myself. When I don't really have to. I could be very comfortable. I could put my feet on the table, be like, I'm good to go. Or I can make things difficult for myself. And I choose to make things difficult for myself because I am preparing myself for the wars that life brings me. If I can get through this, it doesn't matter what anything outside of my realm brings onto me or comes onto me or comes before me. I have built the capacity. I did this voluntarily. I'm going through this pain voluntarily. I ran the 100 miles. I ran thousands of miles already preparing for the Ironmans. I did that all voluntarily. And now I'm doing this voluntarily. And it's going to be a psychological warfare, right? But guess what? I'm building up that armor. I'm suiting up. So whatever comes my way, I'll be able to face the battle and not cower when things get tough. That's the only difference of who I was to who I am now. When a challenge comes before me, I'm like, all right, what do I need to do? I'm going to accomplish this shit. I need to get over this. I'm going to solve it. Before, victim, oh my God, why is this happening to me? I'm such a good person. Why do bad things happen to me? Victimized. But I know the role I'm in this game. Things, if you keep pushing, things are going to be difficult. So what do? I'm preparing myself. And this is what all I'm doing. Because if it sits stagnant, there will never be a true challenge. So I keep pushing. And when you keep pushing, like bigger challenges come my way. Which means greater opportunities. So for those of you that decided to take this on, you are building capacity because you did this voluntarily. You're building capacity because you did it voluntarily. So now, because I decided to set a short-term goal, I'm fired up. And that is the whole point of the 12-week target book. To set a target and then achieve it. In fact, like when you go back, and I'll read the power section of this 12-week target book, there's some questions that I ask, and it fits right along the line with this challenge, with this 30-day challenge. Even though this is like a 90-day challenge, this 30-day challenge falls right in line. Where are you at today with your health? Is your body serving you? How do you look? How do you feel? What is that saying to you? It's saying like, hey, look in the mirror and be honest with yourself. Look at your business and be honest with yourself. Look at your marriage and be honest with yourself. It is not working to where it should be. I can improve on my marriage. I can improve as a father, I promise you. But we don't necessarily look at it until it becomes a challenge, right? Involuntary challenge. And a challenge that comes out of not doing the work. I'm saying be proactive. Bring on the challenge to you and look in the mirror. Look at your marriage and say, what is not working right now? Don't let the pains of the unconscious come and take your momentum away from you. So when you set a challenge, it's you voluntarily improving yourself. Not because you have to, because you want to. So the same thing with the app. That question is very much like that. Where are you at with your health today? Well, I had to take a picture of myself. I didn't like the way I looked. Like that pissed me off. That pissed me off. Because in the mirror, I looked very different. I had like abs. In the picture, there was no abs in there. Holy shit, like I was playing, my mind was playing tricks on me. It really was. And then the next question here is, what is your 12-week target? Like, be clear about what it is that you want. And then what action items do you have to take on a daily, weekly, or monthly to ensure you hit your target? That's real clear. Carla spelled it all out for us. We held an hour and a half meeting where we talked about the foods you were going to eat, about the exercises you were going to do, about what you were going to drink. Like, it's all spelled out. So I know that if I follow this game plan, I will be closer to my goals than what I am today. I will not come out of this in a weaker position. I will become more confident. And if you follow this, you will be more confident because you know when you say something, you will deliver. It's called integrity. It's called trust. And when you can trust yourself, the world trusts you. And you trust yourself to make those big moves when it seems scary. To make moves when there's a full-on pandemic and you make the greatest investment of your life. Another question. What obstacles will hinder you from attaining your 12-week targets? Simple. We all know our behaviors. We all know what slows us down. You know what I did? I know that as soon as I come into the door of my house, even after eating very well during the day, I'm a little stressed out. So I see these little snacks. I see those little candy bars, little Snickers snackers, little mini-sized Kit Kats. It's not going to hurt. Well, based on the picture, it hurt a lot. It hurt looking at myself and knowing that I left a lot on the table. Now, if I left a lot on the table in my health, I can only imagine what I'm leaving on the table for my business and my marriage and as a father. It all translates. It all translates. I don't care how good I say I am. I need to improve. So what did I do? Threw out everything that was tempting. And I started putting out more of the things that I'm supposed to eat, that I'm supposed to consume. So we all know what slows you down. You all know why your business is not where it needs to be. You're too shy. I don't like videos, AZ. Posting on social media is so tough. The follow-up, I don't know what to say. That's what stops you. Because at the beginning, you're like, yes, I'm going to go for 10, 12 million. And then we do a quick audit. How many phone calls have you made? How many posts have you done? What have you learned? Oh, well, it's just I'm not good. I'm not good on camera. And then the next question is, how will you overcome these obstacles that typically stop or hinder you? That's where accountability comes in. I love that there's 30 plus people on this challenge. I love it. We're all excited. We're all rooting for each other to like go through it. We're all going to feel the same pains. And right now it's only day one. I'm like, when is this going to end, right? But then I'll get used to it. And then it's just simply going to be the way I operate. So, and what I've built hasn't been something that happened overnight. It was on the back of these challenges. Of creating these challenges upon myself, creating these pains upon myself, voluntarily. Now that's power. Making shit harder so you can get better. Some idiots out there just make their situation harder to live a more miserable life. I'm making things harder to make myself better. Period. And then finally, why is it absolutely necessary for you to hit your target? These are all powerful questions. And these are the same questions we answered on this 30-day challenge. And again, I'm excited and I'm looking forward to it. Like I can already see my body transforming. I can see it in my mind, just very much the same way I saw this building come into fruition. I can see where I can go as a 42-year-old man. And I'm going to dominate shit. And I would run circles around the 35-year-old me, around the 25-year-old me. Because I brought all this pain voluntarily, based on a challenge-based lifestyle. So if you get an opportunity to do something like this, jump on the bandwagon. It's not going to be easy. You could only improve. You're not going to come out in a worse situation, I promise you. Is it going to be inconvenient? Yes. Is it going to be hard? Absolutely. But it's all going to be well worth it. And that's the way you got to look at it. The end result, not the process. The process sucks. The work sucks. I hate the work. But look at my smile. Absolutely love the results of my life and how I feel. the fire that burns intensely in my body. So if you get an opportunity, lean in. You'll improve. So with that, if you follow the 12-week target book, it's coming to an end this week. And if you started it and didn't move forward with it, you have another opportunity to do the same. We're going to be holding another course to go over and set some 12-week targets. This is my last week of this. And if you stuck to it, this is either the last week or your first week of the new 12-week target book, depending on when you started. So guys, lean in. Right now, we're taking so much that we have before us for granted, right? You have your youth. You have your family. You have this environment. Don't take it for granted. Let's keep pushing. So I want to thank you for joining me for this episode of Mindset Mastery. I'm going to go ahead and read a couple comments. I'm coming off a brutal injury. Nonetheless, I challenged myself yesterday by riding for 10 miles. Normally, it takes me 30. Can you rise it up all the way to the top, please? 30 minutes, but with only one arm, it took me 1.5 hours. But I'm glad you did it. That's fine. You can leave it there. Jasenia. No, and I get it, Nick. I mean, just pushing yourself out of that envelope. Right there's fine. Okay. Sorry, guys. We're still trying to get used to our set here. It's all in the mindset you set. It is not a diet. It is a lifestyle. It is not eating healthy. It is eating right. Yes, I love that. Just eating right. If you can call it a diet, you are more likely to fail. But if you make it a lifestyle, you will succeed. And it's funny because, we can stick to a great game plan, but it's how we allow the little things when we're unconscious about it, right? To penetrate your cupboards, to penetrate your refrigerator. Like a lot of this stuff we never had in our refrigerator, in our cupboards, but I allowed one thing and then another, and before you know it, we're just used to eating and snacking on junk. Now, again, I think I could run more circles around most people my age and even 10 years younger, but I know I can get better, and that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm going to improve, and that's the mindset we have to go with. Yes, your business is doing great. Yes, but how can you improve? How can you improve? Setting these targets, surrounding yourself around the right people will help you get there. Guys, I want to thank you for joining me for this Mindset Mastery. I hope you're fired up. I know I am, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great day. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Badass Agents Podcast, brought to you by AZ & Associates and Do the Work Coaching and Consulting. You can watch this and other episodes by subscribing to our channel on YouTube or by visiting us directly at badassagents.com. And of course, you can listen to this episode and many others on your preferred podcast provider.